and welcome to today's Daily Word. Glad you could join me for our time together again this morning as we end this week and this last day of the month of June. And it's crazy that we've ended the month of June already and are headed to July. But anyway, hope you enjoy this holiday weekend coming up and all that there is. Looks like it might be a little rainy, but we'll make it through it all. And of course, hope you plan to join us Sunday morning for worship. We have communion on Sunday, as always, the first Sunday of the month. We'll share and worship together. So hope you plan to join us at 10:15, either live or here on Facebook Live in person. And of course, again here on Monday morning at 10 o'clock. So this morning's scripture for today's daily word, which is daily word number 744, is an interesting, difficult one that I think Jesus really challenges us in our thinking about this. Luke 6:29 through 30. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks you. And if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. So we live in this instantaneous culture. We can communicate immediately. We can send text messages that miraculously go over. Somehow it works. And the words that I send to you in a text appear on your device as words amazingly. We can FaceTime somebody, and it's this amazing thing that we can do, and we can see each other and talk to each other in real time. We don't really have answer machines anymore. Here we have voicemail that we can access. I can access it remotely. We can save numbers, we can transfer them, calls, we can do all kinds of amazing instantaneous stuff. We don't have to wait for the newspaper to arrive. We can read it online. I don't know about you, but I don't have to wait for the mail to arrive because I get an email every day with pictures of my mail. I know what I'm getting in the mail long before it arrives. I get an email about 7 o'clock every morning. We live in this instant world. Now, it serves us well in many cases, and in other ways it hasn't served us well. Because we live in this instant world, and we also expect transactions to happen instantly. We're not very patient at restaurants anymore, and trust me, I've heard people be less than patient at restaurants or waiting in line or in the grocery store. Well, the list goes on and on, right? We're just not horribly patient people anymore in our lives. Now, I say that because this scripture almost probably asks of us to not respond immediately when something happens to us. Now, when something happens to us that we don't like, there's an interesting, important element at play, and it's called time. Now, if we react instantly to something that happens to us, if we react instantly to something directed at us, a word said to us, or an action said to us, if we react instantly, if someone calls us a name, then we name call. If someone cuts us off, then we cut them back off. If we react instantly, our actions and reactions are probably less than what they should be and aren't probably indicative of who we are. But if we buy ourselves a little time, if we type the email reply or the text message reply, type it out, but don't hit send with our first initial thoughts, but delete it and wait, probably our actions are going to be different. Now, it's not about being passive. It's not about letting ourselves be beat up. It's not that at all. It's really about taking the time necessary to steward our choices and to steward our choices well. Now, there's a common verse that goes with this that says something like this: when you don't react, you pour heaps of coals on the head of the other person. Meaning that by reacting, you don't win, and by waiting to react or not reacting, you do win. So the scripture says to us, look, if someone slaps you on the cheek, bam, wait, don't respond. Now, it doesn't mean you should get beat up. Now, don't hear me wrong, because being slapped on the cheek probably takes on lots of forms that aren't the real physical action of being slapped on the cheek. Turn the other one. If someone takes your coat, takes your place in line, buys the last piece of bread or the last piece of pie, or if the waiter isn't fast enough, don't withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. You see, the scripture really talks to us, I think, about our character. And if our character is really connected to God, our character, the spirit within us, our call to be Christian and respond like what it means to be Christian. You see, if we react in this kind of way, it puts us above circumstances, and this spirit-filled life, this Christian life, this fulfilled life, then allows us to respond to circumstances out of our character, out of God, who works in and through us. So this text, while it's hard, we all know it's hard, because it's easy to have instantaneous response to things that happen to us. But when we take time, when we allow it to sift itself out, when we allow it, if you will, to sift through us, through our character, through our spirit, through our hearts, to who and what God's called us to be, then our responses to things will be according to the Spirit and not according to just our own anger or our own ego or our own lack of character, if you will. When we buy ourselves time, when we allow ourselves to respond not immediately, but in different ways, then God's love and grace can shine through our lives. So, I've done that many times, not responded to a text or an email, or what I typically do is type it out, type out the email, type out the text, and then read it and delete it. And then wait. That's, in a sense, turning the other cheek and waiting to respond as the Spirit allows me, as it's filtered through. And I think if we took that approach with our lives in all kinds of circumstances, that not only would our lives be better, because I think they would. I think our lives would be better. Because, when I respond immediately, when I respond not out of the character, but out of ego, out of anger, then I wrestle with that the rest of the day. I just do. I wish I wouldn't have said that. I wish I would have responded differently. And then I have to go back and try to fix it, right? When we wait and respond through the Spirit, not only are our lives better, because they are, but the life of the person we're responding to is better. And they might look at us and wonder, what's up with this guy? And then we can share who it is that who is the God who is moving through us, the God who's moving through us, the Spirit who lives in us, that we've allowed it to filter before we respond. Now, it doesn't mean we should get beat up. It doesn't mean that we should be abused. It doesn't mean that we should be passive in really tough circumstances, a real slap in the face. But I don't know about you, but in 99% of the time, maybe it's probably more than that, it's probably 100% of the time for me, It's not a physical slap, but it's the slap that I need to wait and respond to. So that's the word we'll end our week on today. I hope it's a word that makes sense to you, that we might just use in our own lives as we share our lives with each other and with God's people. So enjoy the weekend, enjoy the holiday. Look forward to seeing you Sunday morning at 10:15, and then here again Monday morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day and a great weekend. Know of God's love that surrounds you, and as always, know of my love for you.